Hi, this is Stan. I'm here to talk to you about one of the worst problems in the world that catalyzes many of the biggest problems that we have, even the existential human problems. And it's called the way that we elect representatives is extraordinarily horrifying and stupid. And I feel like trying to explain the gravity of the horror is like trying to explain that 2 plus 2 equals 4, and people saying, "What are you talking about? Boring. I can't be bothered with that truth." So I made a spreadsheet. I'm going to share the spreadsheet now. So in this example, we have 4 candidates: Trump, Kasich, Rubio, and Cruz. And we have a bunch of voters. Each voter is given an ideological profile. They're either have 40% chance of being Trump fan, which means that their favorability ceiling is 100 for Trump and only 40 for the rest. But really, it could be anything. These people are diverse. So, for instance, this quote Trump fan actually only gives 21 points to Trump, gives 30 to Rubio. So he would vote for Rubio when marking his favorite. 60% of voters are anti-Trump. They give nothing to Trump ever, and their ceilings are 100 for all of these 3 candidates. So they have their random scores they give based on these ceilings, and this is basically what they would vote under a score or range voting system. Over here, their favorite they give under a single vote system, plurality vote, first past the post, mark only fave. Mark fave only is what I'm calling it. Okay, score vote is what the population wants, the aggregate favorability of the candidate. Here, with this system that I've set up, we have about 30 elections with 100 voters each, and Trump loses them all. He's the loser. See? Not bright yellow. He never wins. What a loser. But then Mark Fave only comes along and looks only at these guys over here. Under Mark Fave only, Trump wins most of them. These are mismatches between what the population actually wanted in aggregate and who wins under Mark Fave only. Why? Because Mark Fave only is awful. It's awful when there's more than 2 candidates and there's any sort of ideological cohort split over here. It gives bad results, mismatch results. 77% of these elections are garbage. The bad guy won. Worst winner. See this thing over here? Worst winner. Trump won, but people voted Rubio. Trump won, but the people voted Kasich. This should never, ever, ever happen in a good electoral system. And I don't care whether you want to do score range or whether you want to do ranked choice voting, whatever. Anything but this. And there are several historical examples of some of the worst election atrocities. Well, straight to this. People like to say, well, you could have that as one of the rounds, but then you have a correctional round where you have this runoff. No, those can get wrecked too. This should never be in any round of any kind of vote in which there are more than 2 choices. Do you understand? Mathematically, if there are more than 2 choices, you should never, ever, 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 ever use this method. Ever. And yet we're using it for so many things, which creates a kind of cultural derangement, this whack herd signal where you think that everyone likes this guy because this thing told you everyone does, but they didn't actually. And like there's this radio effect where the radio plays an awful song but tells you that everyone loves it and people start loving it. Yeah, this is what I'm convinced happened in the 2016 primary. I think this happened in the first few primaries, and then folks fell in line. And by then it was too late. Like a NASCAR pileup, these candidates crashed into one another. Trump weaved on through. And then a bunch of people had their wagons hitched to them. Never Trumpers became Trump cultists. Ain't good. Now, guess what? The DNC, the Democratic primary right now, has, I think, 1 bazillion candidates. And yet most of them are using Mark Fave only. It's very dumb. Not just dumb, but it's horrifying. The wrong people will win. if there's a kind of ideological split left among the viable candidates, which there probably will be, someone has got to do something because it's like super obviously bad thing, but nobody's saying anything about it because it's like super boring. And so I keep screaming about it, and I like tweeting, and I calling the DNC and my representatives and stuff. But I think I'm the only one doing that, which is driving me insane.